Hello everyone, I hope you're doing awesome today. So it is a beautiful, beautiful day here in Southwest Florida, sunny and 75, that's the way I like it. So I thought, why don't I go with the roof off today and see how it is. Now I'm hoping the wind noise isn't too substantial. With the microphone, most of it should be kind of buffeted. However, if I notice it's a little too much, I might just have to read it in video, we'll have to see. That being said, windows are up, so hopefully it's not too bad. I'll try to speak up a bit so you can hear me nice and clearly. So I've had the C6 for a couple months now, and I didn't mention I want to wait to talk about things, I like on the car, so until I've really had the chance to experience it for a while now. That way, I can see, because, maybe initially you love something when you have it for a week, and then later on I go, oh, this is kind of annoying, actually. So I thought at this point it's a good time to make the video. So, without further ado, let's get started. Now, I'm probably not going to make a similar one talking about things I hate. I think those are kind of dumb videos people make to get just a bunch of views on it. There's nothing you hate about your Lamborghini or Aston Martin. There's just some compromise that you have to make because you own a supercar, but that's part of owning a supercar. That being said, let's get started. So the first thing that I love about this car, it would definitely have to be the styling. Now, in my video talking about the different generations of Corvettes, I mentioned that the C2 was my favorite of the classical ones, and the C7 was my favorite of the modern era, and it definitely holds true. The C7s are just so cool looking. That being said, the C6s I still think look fantastic, and it would definitely be a close second. They really just nailed the proportions of this car, I think. The C6 was much more of an evolutionary phase and a revolutionary one. If you look at the C5, even the C4, you can definitely see the similarities within the two, and that's, that's okay with me. I think evolutions aren't necessarily, a negative thing. Look at the 911, it's been the same for the past, 60 years now, and 50 years. And that's okay, sometimes things don't need to really dramatically change because that just allows them more time to update every little thing and just make it almost perfect. So I think with the C6, they did a great job on the styling. They got the proportions, I think, like I said, just right to where everything looks nice. It's not such a traditional kind of, British roadster with a long bonnet and a kind of short boot. You have because of the hatchback, you have a little bit of a boot there, so I kind of think it's proportioned a little better that way. But of course, you still have a very long hood where that nice big motor is hidden. So the styling is really great, and also it's still, and this is one of the reasons that I chose a Corvette over something, let's say, a Camaro or a Mustang, was because of the looks of the car. It's definitely stands out. Now, it's still, just a Corvette, so I understand it's not, the flashiest car in the world, but it could maybe be a car because of my age when they see the younger guy driving it. This car gets a ton of looks, and I like that. I like driving around a car where people kind of see you and they know. You're like, oh, look at that, oh, that's cool, And often, just at red lights, I'm sitting there and I'll get someone, hey, that's a nice car, man. It's really cool that you just kind of hear that, oh, your hard work kind of pays off or something. So I do enjoy that, getting noticed while I drive. Often, going in and out of a store, people see you go to your car. It's kind of cool. It's like, oh, well, that's his car. So I do enjoy that. I think that's kind of cool about the car. And, even though, are there nicer cars? Yeah, of course, there's a lot of nicer cars around. But this car, for its age, I still think gets a lot of looks. And if you look at, a C5, even a C4, they're a little dated, but they still get some attention because of how low and sleek they are. And I think this car will be very similar. So I think this car will age nicely, even in the next 5-10 years. I still think it'll be noticed. So that's the cool thing about it, is the styling. Now next is going to be that thing that you can hear, and that will be the engine. I love the motor in this car. That was, a big reason of why I bought this car again, was just because this motor it just won't stop. It's amazing. I love the LS2. I haven't driven an LS2. Got a ride in one, but I've never driven one, so I can't tell you as far as, the power. It feels so much better. With the headers and the exhaust, this car is making more power than an LS3 is anyways. But there's some nice parts about an LS3 that kind of help out if you could afford to go for it. If not, LS2 is great. Stock, 400 horsepower, 400 pound-foot of torque, and 29 mpgs. In fact, right now I'm getting 35. So that's kind of amazing. This car, it really pulls. Because I daily it, it's really nice to have a motor that has so much torque on the bottom end. So when, you're just, driving around through, in the city. You don't need to just constantly rev it out, 4.5, 5,000 RPM. No, this car makes all the power at like 1,200. Oh, that's a nice big sign. So it's really nice to just to, give a little bit of gas and it just pulls you. I mean, literally, you just, shift at 1,500 RPM, you look in the mirror and everyone's already way behind you. So it's nice to have all that bottom end torque. On the other hand, this thing will rev. I mean, if you rev it out to, 5.5, 6,000 RPM, this thing will scream. Now, I will also say, in regard to MPG, it gets great city miles, and as well on the highway. The highway's really good. That's one of the... Who cares about MPG when you hear that, though? Now, some people will say, oh, who cares about gas mileage, you're dealing with a sports car. That might be the case. Here's the thing. No one, I don't care how much money you have or who you are, no one likes to get 8 miles per gallon. It's not a fun thing to do. First off, it's just a kind of a waste, of unnecessary gas. At the same time, too, you need a concept of having a huge tank. If you have a small tank and get 8 miles per gallon, you're at the gas station every single day. That's annoying to constantly have to fill the car up. So it is nice to get, 30 MPGs while you drive. And I gotta say, if you are someone like me who dailies this car, the university I live at, that I go to, it's about 60 miles to drive there. So, making that trip a couple times a week, it's nice to get a decent MPG. That way, I'm not spending in tuition in my gas bill. So that is a nice thing to get good miles per gallon. At the same time, still having just such a powerful motor. And part of that, of course, is the weight. The nice low weight of the car helps this, big motor not have to work so hard, and therefore get good MPGs. But moving on, and this is kind of a styling part as well, and that is going to involve this big gap right over here. I love this removable roof. It is super, super cool. I have noticed since I got the glass roof that I take the removable roof off less and less. I think it has to do with, like I said earlier, it's kind of the best of both worlds kind of thing. So with the glass roof, you get a similar to an open air experience, but you don't have to actually take the roof off. That being said, it's really nice, on a day like today where it's nice, beautiful weather, pop the roof off, pop it in the trunk, and you're good to go. Before I bought this car, some of the cars I was looking at was a 987, Boxster or Cayman S, and often I was debating between the two, if should I go Boxster or should I go Cayman? And, sometimes I thought, well, I like the Cayman, the nice, sleek, cool, aggressive look of a coupe. Other times I'd be like, well, it's nice to have a convertible on a good day like today, top down, wind in your hair, all those noises you hear. It's really nice. So with this, you kind of get the best of both. You get the cool look of a coupe, and if you want to take the roof off, you get a very similar convertible feeling. I don't like convertible Corvettes. I don't think they look good. A cool thing with the Corvette, I think, is that nice silhouette of it with the proportions of, the roof sliding, and you miss out on that if you have the convertible. So that's a nice thing too with a big powerful motor, is just you need to dart in a quick spot real quick to make it light, you can do it. So the removable roof is a very cool feature, and there's some people that really enjoy that, and at least from what I've heard, from a video from Matt Farrer, he talked about some people that he knew that didn't even want to get a Z06 because they miss out on that removable roof. Now, if that's true or not, I'm not so sure, but I definitely could understand maybe why that would be the case, because the removable roof is really cool. Of course, with the C7, you get that on the C06 as well, so that compromise is gone. But for the C6s, at least, it still holds true. And now, moving on, the gauges. This car, I will stand by this, I believe has the most beautiful set of gauges of just about any car in production. Well, it's not in production anymore. When it was in production. It looks fantastic. I'm not a huge fan of digital gauges. I prefer a good old analog one, and this one has some great looking ones. A big tach, big speedo, and then 4 auxiliary gauges. It just looks really classical. It's something that, again, doesn't age because it's a classical look. It's a lot like, a Rolex versus an Apple Watch. An Apple Watch looks great, It does some cool things. It's a lot more high-tech. but a Rolex just looks better. And this is the same thing, I think. Really nice, super clear. At night, they just look fantastic. And I really think it's some of the best looking gauges out there. In addition to, this isn't really a gauge, but it kind of has to do with it, and that is the heads-up display. I love the heads-up display. I don't know why more manufacturers haven't gotten into this. I know BMW does a great one. Theirs is a lot better than this. And on the new C7, it's also updated, which looks nicer as well. It's super, super cool. You know, on mine, I have the tach, the speed, a G meter, and my oil pressure. And, oh, it also does have, I found this out the other day, it actually has a shift indicator as well. If you go up to Revline, it'll put a little arrow pointing up to say shift up, which is kind of cool. It's super, super cool. You know, it's right in your line of vision. So when you're driving, just mind your own business, and you're looking right at the road, you just gotta look down for just, I mean, you know, a couple millimeters, and then right there in the back up, versus, you know, looking down below your steering wheel, below your, you know, below your dashboard. It's right there, right in your face, right in front of you. So it's a really cool thing, not only as far as a safety feature, because your eyes are, you know, not much off the road, it also looks really cool. And a lot of my, you know, the people that I have driving with me, of course, if you sit on the side, you don't actually see it. It's not in my view right now. It's only if you're sitting right there. So, you know, if they sit down in the car and they're like, whoa, you have this thing, I'm like, yeah, it's because I haven't noticed it. So that's a really cool thing, I think, and it's something that I think more manufacturers should look into. I'm not sure why they don't. I think it's really cool. I know the Corvettes do them. Some more other Chevys might as well now, and BMW does. I'm not sure if really anyone else does, and I think they should. It's a really cool idea. But I think that just about mentions everything. Now, I'm sure there's a thing or two that I may have forgotten in there, but oh well, that's what it is. But that is just about everything that I really, really like about this car as of yet. Full review hopefully coming up soon, as long as I'll walk around too. I do want to show you guys what this car looks like so you can actually see it from the outside. And I have a really cool, the most America video that I've done yet, coming up very soon as well. But as always, if you like this video, I really appreciate if you hit that like and or favorite button. For more videos of me, push subscribe. Thank you everyone so much for checking in. I will see you very soon.